and welcome to my first Friday Sews video. Hi, I'm Amelia and this is my channel Sew Amelia, where I talk all about making a handmade wardrobe for me and my children. Welcome to this week's episode, which, as I said before, is my first Friday Sews video. Now, Friday Sews is a tag used by lots of sewists in the sewing community here on YouTube, and it was started by the lovely Jen, who is today in Jen's sewing room, and I'll link her channel below. So this is a place where we can talk about our makes, our purchases, and our plans for the week that's just been and for the week that is to come. Now, I mentioned in last week's video that I was hoping to share a video of my recent sewing makes. There are so many of those that I thought I would break that down and share a few with you each week in a Friday Sews video. The other reason I thought I would do some Friday Sews videos is that my children break up for school this week for the summer, and so my sewing time and my time to video and edit these vlogs is going to be quite limited. But I do love coming on here and sharing my makes and plans with you, so as I can over the summer, I will pop on and share some Friday Sews videos, although I do plan to take a complete break from vlogging over the month of August. So I just thought I would start today's video by sharing a couple of my recent makes. Now, I'm wearing one today, and this is the one I was talking about in last week's video, and that is the Chalk and Notch Shea dress. Now, when I got this one printed, I printed a size 8 and a size 10, and then when I was looking at the finished garment measurements, I did wonder if I should size down to a 6 across the bust, and actually in hindsight, I think I probably should have. Now, I absolutely love the shape of this dress. I'm living my best 90s life over here in this sleeveless dress, and it is so very swishy and comfortable in the summer heat. I made the button-down version at the front, as you'll see here, and I made it without sleeves. Now, I absolutely love the look of it, but I do have to say I think it came out a little bit big on the top. You can see there's a little bit of gaping here under the arms. I can probably pinch out almost an inch from under the arms here. And then actually, were I to make it again, I would shorten the straps, I think you can see here, by about an inch as well, just to bring up the front. I actually really like where the back sits on me. I'm very, very happy with that, but I might take an inch off the front bodice pieces just to bring this up just a little bit. Now, because I've already had the pattern printed and I've cut straight into it, what I might do for my next version, because I think there will be another version, it was a very, very lovely sew and I'm really enjoying wearing it. What I might just do is actually a small bust adjustment, because if I can pinch that excess out of those princess seams, I think that will just take the excess out of the armholes as well, and it will just fit me a little bit better. So I can quite easily do that with the pieces I have. But in the meantime, this is a lovely swishy summery dress, and I am planning to wear this over the summer, especially on those hot days. Now, I made this from a fabric that I bought from Sew Me Sunshine. If it is still available, I'll link it below, but this is one that I finished very recently. In fact, it's pretty much hot off the machine, and I have worn it twice already because it is just so comfortable and swishy in the heat. Now, I must have a thing for this kind of silhouette at the moment, because the other make I finished recently is the French Navy goldenrod dress. Now, this is one that I pattern tested, so I did receive the pattern for free in return for testing the pattern, and I used another Sew Me Sunshine fabric actually, which is a viscose lawn. It is a beautiful, beautiful fabric, but it is quite heavy. So what I've actually found with this one is it does actually sometimes slip off my shoulders, and that's probably just the weight of the fabric. Although I do wonder if I make this one again, if I might bring the shoulders in just a little bit by taking some out of the bodice. It seems to be a problem that I have in both of these dresses, so I'm wondering if it's not the patterns. Since I'm experiencing the same problem with both patterns, I wonder if it's to do with my torso. I do often have to make narrow back adjustments on other patterns that I've made, so I'm not that surprised that I have had a little bit of an issue with these straps just being a little bit too wide for me. Now, this is just such a lovely pattern. I really enjoyed sewing up the goldenrod dress. It's a very similar shape with this square neckline. It has beautiful sleeves here with a little bit of elastic at the top. Now, you can make it with a button front, which I did with covered buttons, or you can make it with a front that's cut on the fold, so you don't have this seam down the front here. And these buttons really are for show, because both versions, with the buttons or without, are finished with an invisible zip down here under the underarm seam. So you don't have to make buttonholes if you don't want to. Or if you don't prefer invisible zips, you probably could just about get away with sewing this seam up here and just using the buttons, but don't quote me on that. I did put my own invisible zip in as well, partly because I was testing the pattern and partly because I didn't want to risk not being able to get into this finished dress. Now, one thing that the goldenrod dress has that the shade dress doesn't is pockets. Now, the pocket construction on this is really lovely. The side seam is here and the pockets sit just here. So you have a little bit of space to get your hands in really nicely and easily, and I really like the feature that that gives. Because I've used it black, it's probably very hard for you to see those pattern details, but it is really lovely, and I'll pop a link to it in the description box below so you can go and check it out if you're interested. It was a beautiful pattern to test, and I will definitely be making more of these. Now, I did go in and shorten the straps afterwards because, like this dress, I found that it sat just a little bit low on me. Again, same problem with two different patterns, same sort of design. So again, I don't know if that's the pattern or my personal preferences. So I did raise these straps by about 1 inch, and I do prefer where that sits on me now. It's a lovely, lovely pattern to sew up. It is fully lined. There are instructions on how to line the bodice, but I did choose to fully line the skirt as well, mainly because it is a broderie anglaise, and obviously then because there are those holes in the fabric, it is somewhat see-through, and I just didn't want that. So I did end up lining the whole dress apart from the sleeves. I left the sleeves unlined because that's fine. I don't mind people seeing the tops of my arms, but I did want to make sure that my bodice piece and my skirt piece were both lined. So those are the two dresses that I have sewn recently, and I've also recently finished a couple of things for my children, so I'll briefly show you those before I talk about some fabric purchases and some plans that I have. So the first thing I made was a couple of shirts. Now I'm going to show you my younger son's version because it's just a bit easier to show you a small shirt on the screen, and it is called the Bayfield shirt, and it's by Little Lizard King Patterns. I love sewing Little Lizard King patterns. They come together so beautifully and they're such a delight to sew. The instructions are fantastic, and I made 2 of these in this linen cotton from Minerva, and that was gifted to me because I am a brand ambassador. Now it's a linen look cotton, so actually it was really lovely to sew up. It was really light and easy for the boys to wear, and it didn't crease as much as a linen. It just sat beautifully on them, and when they ran around and played, it was perfect. So white was a bit of a bold colour choice for 2 little boys, but actually it looked really sweet with their Mendoza shorts that I had made for them previously, which is why I chose the white colour. I thought it would go really well with those little shorts, and we were off to a family christening, so they did need to look smart, and they really, really did on the day. Now, I love the features of this pattern. There is a front pocket piece here that you can put on. There is a little pleat at the back here where the back meets the yoke at the back. Now, the only thing I did differently with this pattern is that there are not instructions to interface the collar piece or the under collar piece, and having sewn a few like shirt dresses and shirts before, I really prefer to interface at least one of those collar and collar stand pieces just for a really crisp finish. So I did interface one of these collar pieces and one of these collar stand pieces, and that just went in beautifully. I'm really, really pleased with it. And I did also interface the button placket just to keep that really strong and sturdy when the boys take that on and off. So I'm hoping that they'll wear these a few more times over the summer. Like I said, it's such a lovely lightweight fabric. And if you want more details about the fabric and the pattern, I'll put the link in the description box to my Minerva blog, and you can go and read all about this make over there. And lastly, the other thing I finished off recently is a dress for my daughter. I couldn't leave her out of all the fun, and that is this gorgeous mermaid dress. Now this is another Little Lizard King pattern. This is the Little Lizard King Versailles pattern. It has this beautiful sleeveless bodice with this lovely little frill here, and then it has this piece across the front, so this belt, which connects to a lovely tie in the back, and the ruffle comes right around the shoulders into this little V at the back. And I finished that off with poppers just because it's easy. I love these little plastic poppers, and I use my Prim Vario pliers to put that on. It's very easy, and it makes just for a really quick and easy finish. She has worn this every single day. It's actually due for a wash, so don't look too closely. I think she has had this on every single day since I made it, unless she's been at nursery. So it's definitely a favourite. The fabric is by Belle and Boo, and they gifted this to me in return for an Instagram post, but really when I saw it I couldn't resist. She is all about mermaids at the moment, and when she saw this fabric you should have seen her squeal and jump with glee. So she was very excited to get this mermaid dress made up, and she just loves wearing it. I really, really love this aqua colour. I think it's such a pretty, pretty shade. Sort of bluey green colour on the background of this one, and then this is like a sort of a creamy colour. It's just such beautiful fabric. The cotton was really lovely to sew with. I've sewn Belle and Boo fabrics before. They gifted me these, so I'm a long time lover of Belle and Boo. Love the designs of the fabric and love working with their cotton, so I can definitely recommend This one, if you have a little lady in your life who loves a good mermaid print, it's very, very sweet, and I will link that in the description box below as well. Now, in terms of purchases, I don't tend to buy a lot of fabric because I don't actually have anywhere to store it at the moment. I am sitting up in my new sewing room, or what will be my new sewing room. We're finishing up a couple of bits in here, and then hopefully I'll be able to get some storage for my fabric, get some of my fabric and little bits and pieces, patterns and whatnot, arranged up here so that then I can use it as a functional sewing room again. If you do have any suggestions for great fabric and pattern storage solutions, do please put them in the comments below, because I'm really struggling to decide what to put in here. It's quite a small room, so I do need something that's quite compact and that will fit in my fabric, although as I say, I don't have a huge stash. I did recently purchase this from Rainbow Fabrics, and it's just so gorgeous. Now, the new craft house is having a summer party soon. I think it's called their prom party, so I thought I would take advantage of that and make a really fun dress. And I've chosen this crepe fabric. I think it's a viscose crepe, and it's got these beautiful pink and deep pink flowers on it, and then the background is kind of this blush pinky peachy colour, which I think will look really, really beautiful. And I've been really inspired by a couple of the dresses I've seen over on Needle and Thread. I did wonder about making a sort of smocked bodice and then just a very lovely tiered skirt with some gathers across the tiers, and I think that would be quite straightforward in terms of it would really just be some rectangles, obviously gathered and smocked. If you'd like me to put that together as a tutorial, do let me know in the comments below. But that is the plan for this fabric. I bought quite a few meters of this one because it was not too expensive, but I think it will look really beautiful sewn up in that kind of floaty, gathered, tiered style with that smocked bodice. So looking forward to planning that one and making that probably in a few weeks' time, perhaps over August when my children are on holidays, and then I can just potter away at that one when they are playing nicely. Hopefully they'll play nicely. I can get some sewing time to get this made up in time for their party. The other thing I purchased was this new pattern by Mimi G, although it's probably not new, it's new to me. And it is Simplicity 9597. Now, I believe this comes in sizes 6 to 24, which is great. And it comes as culottes here, or as a skirt, and I just love the open back here, and then that comes with poppers. Now, I have seen Rogan, who's the Crafty Pie, make this with a gorgeous tie back, and I'm very tempted to try that version of it, but I just thought that was such a beautiful dress. I love that open back, and I would love to make that as a summer dress, although I'm not sure how practical it will be for running around after my children, but it's very pretty, so I couldn't resist buying that one. Now, the other pattern that I bought, I haven't got a physical copy of. I did recently buy the Styler Tavera pattern, and that was designed by Catherine, who's bringing sewing back on Instagram. Now, I really like the look of this. Catherine actually has made it as a swimming dress, and I love that idea. She's also made it with a variety of different jerseys, and I just think it looks like such a great practical dress for the summer. I love the back detail on it, and I also really, really love the fact that it has built-in bike shorts, because for me, on and off the bike with my children, that's how we get around most of the time. That just looks like such a practical addition to this really easy to wear summer dress. So I haven't actually got a piece of jersey fabric big enough to cut this one out because of the lovely full circle skirt, but I am sort of browsing at the moment to see if I can find a fabric that might work to sew this one up to wear in the summer. So I would really like to get this one sewn up sometime soon, because I think it would be such a great practical piece of clothing for running around with my children in the summer holidays. Right, plans. So the plans for my sewing for next week are quite simple really. My children will be on holiday, so my time will be limited, but I would like to sew up a couple of things. The first thing is I'd really like to toile that dress that I just showed you, so Simplicity 9597, and I bought this beautiful cotton seersucker last year. Now, I think I got this one from Sister Mintaka, but there were a few places that sold it. It's a Pigeon Wishes fabric. I think it's probably sold out most places now. But I didn't end up getting it made up last summer because I could not decide on a pattern. But I think it would work really beautifully with this pattern because it's got quite a simple bodice and then just those gathered skirts. So it will kind of let the fabric, I think, do most of the talking. So that's my idea for this one, is to sort of do a toile of this, although I may use another fabric first to just toile this bodice piece. I've seen a few reviews on Instagram that say it comes up quite big. So I might just toile that bodice first in some scrap fabric, before I cut into this glorious seersucker. But I think that's one I'd really like to start working on this week. It's probably a little bit frivolous and fun for this time of year, but I would really enjoy sewing that, and I think that's really important sometimes to just sew something that we love, even if it's not the most practical piece of clothing in our wardrobe. I would definitely wear it, just maybe not on a day-to-day basis. Now, the other thing I would like to sew up that I think would be somewhat more practical in the holidays is this Dear and Don't Maya Sotis. Now, this was on my sort of make 9 plans for the year. I want to make the plain version here with just the short sleeves, the button down front, and then I would probably lengthen the skirt. I've seen quite a few people say it comes up quite short on them, and I do definitely like things that fall sort of just below my knee now. I've got some lovely varicose veins after having 3 children, so I do prefer things that are now a little bit longer than perhaps I used to wear. The fabric I wanted to use to make that up is this gorgeous red gingham. Now, it's quite a deep red, which I think suits me more than sort of a bright red. And I did see a dress very similar to the Maya Sotis that I tried on in a ready-to-wear shop, but it just came up a bit short on me. So I thought I would buy some cotton gingham and recreate it myself using the Maya Sotis dress pattern. So that's the other thing that I thought I might start on this week. So let me know in the comments below, what would you start on if it was you? Would you go for the frivolous, fun seersucker fabric this week, or would you stick to the sensible Maya Sotis dress, which would probably get a little bit more wear over my summer break? Let me know which one you would choose, and then hopefully I'll pop on next week and let you know what I did choose and what I have been working on. Okay, the last plan I have is very, very simple and straightforward, and that is sewing up this fabric. Now, both this fabric and the cotton gingham I bought from Spotlight when I was on holiday in New Zealand over Christmas. I saw this at Spotlight and I couldn't resist it. I just thought it was so much fun, and I think it would make great t-shirts for my boys to mess about in the holidays. So that's also on the list. I love to use the DIBYABBT pattern. It's very simple and straightforward pattern. It fits my children really, really nicely. And then if there's any fabric left over, I may make them a pair or 2 of the Speedy Pants by Waves and Wild, which is another great, I think, free pattern that I use to make them pants when I have some leftover fabric. So that's the plan for that one as well, if I can get those cut out, because I think they'll get a lot of wear over the summer with their pairs of shorts. So that's it in terms of my makes and purchases and plans. The other thing that people often do on Friday Sews is share a little bit of a life update. Like I said, we are about to hit holiday season with my 3 children as they finish up with school for the year. I cannot believe that that time of year has come around already. It feels like they were just starting school, and here we are at the end of another school year. They've had such great years, all 3 of them, and it will be just really, really lovely to have them at home and to be able to do lots of activities with them. We have got a few adventures planned next week, so I'm really looking forward to those, just exploring some of London and some of England actually with them. They're just at such fun ages now. They are 3, 7 and 10, and those are just such great ages. We can do lots of fun activities now. They really enjoy going and exploring museums and National Trust properties, so I'm really looking forward to lots of lovely days out with them over the summer break. So hopefully I'll be able to share a little bit of footage from our adventures in next week's Friday Sews if I manage to pop back on amongst all of the sewing and busyness. But until then, do let me know below what you're working on this week, and do again let me know which of those fabrics you would choose to sew up first. Would you go for pretty or practical? Do let me know below, and until next week, I hope you have a lovely week ahead filled with lots of happy sewing, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.